Here at the Giver Marketing Network, we don't leave you drifting out in space. We connect you to a coach who will help you build and grow your marketing business. Our process acts as a guide on how to connect with other businesses, maintain good relations, and establish a presence on the Giver Marketing Network. Each member within this collaborative group will have the opportunity to leverage your talent and influence, a true network effect. If you are looking to collaborate on more projects, welcome to the Giver Marketing Network, the most trusted and highest rated collective of specialists on the planet. Here we have a group of like-minded professionals who focus on making valuable introductions and helping each other grow by teaming up. Imagine Upwork meets a network and a coach. The talent collectively includes services like visibility and SEO, creating logos, designing websites, managing social media, outreach messaging, visual storytelling, and much more. Think of what you could do with laser-focused allies, strengthening your business while offering your talents to the entire network. Click near this video for more information.
Hello, and welcome to another Giver Marketing broadcast. I'm Christine Deane, Team Director at Giver Marketing, and I'm excited today because we have Nate Saucier with us. Hi, Nate.
Hi, Christine.
Welcome. So he's bringing his genius to the table with us today, and I'm excited because he always brings really great wisdoms about websites, SEO, I mean, you name it. But for those that don't know you, Nate, tell us a little bit about you. How did you get involved with website design and all the fun things that you do with marketing?
Well, about 25 years ago, I started playing around with websites just for fun. And I loved it, and people loved my websites. So I thought, I'll just keep playing around with them. But then I realized people need them for business. I mean, 20 years ago, we're starting to realize that. And so I started getting into that. Worked for a nonprofit on their website and their social media. I worked for them. And then I decided to work for myself so I could work with more people, a variety of people. And I love it.
It's great fun, isn't it? I know we start dating ourselves and we start talking about how long we've been doing stuff, right? It's like, but it really, exactly, you start dabbling and it's so much fun. And a lot of times people do careers that way. You start dabbling with it, you realize you like it. Hey, this is awesome. So what else do you do besides the web design? I know you do some other things too.
Yes, I do search engine optimization. In other words, getting more traffic to the website through ranking and now through AI, answers. And I do social media, as I mentioned, and I do email marketing and like Google business listing for local SEO.
So that online presence is a big part. Now, I know you've got a sweet spot for one special product that you have for making websites accessible, right?
Yes.
And I always thought that was the neatest thing. I know you've done shows on that before where you've explained to us how it works. And just a quick overview real quick for those that are like, website's accessible. What do you mean? It's online. How is it not accessible?
Well, because some people need adaptations to the website in order to be able to use it well. I mean, when somebody comes to your website, you want them to be able to use it well, not have to struggle with it. So people with, like epilepsy, if there's flashing bright lights, that's not good for them. People who are blind need their screen readers to be able to read through what the computer sees of your website. And so the computer doesn't see the images, so you have to describe those. It's called alt description, things like that. And I have a tool that I can put on the website that will adapt that to whoever is watching at the time. They can adapt it for themselves, and it stays the same for the rest of the world, unless they want to adapt it, of course.
That's pretty neat. I love that. I'd never seen that before. And I love when, if somebody's interested in that, catch one of the previous shows on Giver Marketing, look up Nate's name and you'll find that pop up. That was fascinating when you explained how that works. So you really have this in-depth knowledge of websites, which is fantastic. Because a lot of times people just think of it as a billboard, right? But there's so much more to it nowadays. So I'm excited about what we're going to talk about. Should we dive in? What do you think?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Let's do it.
Okay. So we're going to elevate our online presence through user experience of the website. In other words, what does the person who visits your website, what do they experience when they get there? So let me see if I can. Yes, I can. I can forward the slides. Wonderful. Okay. So your why your website? Why should we care about how your website does? Well, it's a powerful salesperson. Not only is it a powerful salesperson, it's there 24/7 on the web. So, when you're sleeping, your website's hard at work selling to people. So you want to make sure that when people come to your website, they have a great experience. So they want to stay. Because if they don't have a great experience, they leave, and we don't want that. So for sure, make it just so wonderful when they get there. So that's what we're going to talk about today, how to do that. This is an overview of what we're going to talk about. So why is it important? Website user experience, UX, that's what we call it. Website challenges to get the UX doing well on your site. Key optimization areas to maximize, improve your UX, and actionable next steps.
Now, you said UX a lot, so I'm hoping you're going to define that to our listeners too, so they understand. What's UX?
User experience. So what do they do? What is it like when they get on your website? You must have everybody's gotten on a website that's really annoying. You don't want to be annoying. You want to be fun. So this quote kind of describes it. The best interface is no interface. The user shouldn't have to think about it. If it's easy to use, people will use it more. So the interface meaning their interaction with your site, with your technology.
And you're so right? How many times have we been on a website where we're like, oh, this is just painful, right? Maybe it takes a long time to load, or maybe you can't find what you're looking for, all right? So you're right, that user experience, and people have no patience nowadays, right? If it's not feeling comfortable, if they're not finding what they want right away, boom, they're out of there.
Yes, exactly. We call that bouncing. They bounce off. So we need to think about what are websites really doing for us, for our business. Is it working for our business? Is it doing what we intend for it to do? And when people come, can they find what they're looking for easily? And do they stay? They stay long enough to take an action, and then maybe they enjoy themselves so much they come back. It says 38% of people will stop visiting a website if the layout is unattractive. So for sure you want your website to be attractive. And in this photo, if you can see it, the website is not attractive. It's really busy and messy. And she's looking at it like, what?
What in the world? What am I looking at? How do I find everything? I just had a client reach out to me last night. There was like, emergency situation. I was like, what? They're like, we're putting a gala on, right? Nonprofit. And they're like, and we need to make our website look, our landing page for the gala look professional. Otherwise people aren't going to want to donate. I was like, that's a good point. I was like, what about this emergency? So I was up late last night working on it, right? But it was just like, I pulled it up and I was like, oh no. Just, oh no, right?
Yeah, you can tell. Sure. So we'll talk about what is user experience. So how does the person feel when they interact with your website? What's the feeling they get? Are they happy? Are they annoyed? Are they excited? Oh, this is fun. I want to see some more. And it's more than just how it looks. Yes, it needs to look nice. It definitely needs to look great. But it's also, how does it function? How is it when they use the site? Is it easy to use? And do they feel satisfied or content when they're on your site?
Yeah, we've
So,
all been, I think, to sites where we're just like, oh my goodness, I know where I'm like, the headings don't even make sense, right? The menu bar,
right.
you're like, what does this even mean? Or they'll use some proprietary term that they've coined, right? And you're like, the rest of the world has no idea what that means. It's
Right. So they don't click on it because they don't know where they're going.
They don't know what it is, right? And they don't
Yeah.
want to have to click on everything on your website to try and find something. So be careful if you get some cutesy names, if it's McDonald's, everybody knows what McDonald's is, So if you have a McFlurry, people probably know it is after all these decades. But, if your special brand has got special names on it and nobody knows you, they're going to have a really hard time navigating.
They will be lost. For sure. So can they easily use your site? If they come to your site, what is the goal they have in mind? I have to think about that when they come to my site. What do they have in mind? What do they want? And can they easily get there? And it says good UX can increase conversions rates by up to 400%. So this is essential. Yes, you can get a bunch of visitors to your site, but if they just leave, it doesn't do you any good.
That's a great point. Plus, with the conversion, right? We talk about websites that used to be old school websites. They were just billboards. They just kind of sat there. Now we're like, no, that website has a purpose. We want them to interact with us. We want to convert them from prospect to client. So it's a big deal. 400%. That's huge.
Yes. So why is it important for small businesses? Well, as we've been talking about this, first impressions really count. It's the first contact. Did you know that the initial opinion of a website is made within 0.05 of a second? 50 milliseconds. That's it. And they've got a decision about your site.
Wow. Talk about judging a book by its cover to a whole new level right there. That's
absolutely.
Woo. And if you can't even get your website to load that fast, their opinion probably isn't going real good.
Well, right. It means when they see your site, but yes.
They might not stay that long.
They may not stay that long if it takes too long to load. Absolutely. So your site, not only does it make a good impression, it builds credibility. If you have a professional looking site, as we mentioned before about the gala, the website, the landing page needed to look professional and appropriate and easy to use and beautiful, all of those. So, and if it does, then they're more likely to donate, which is the goal.
Builds
of that
trust.
particular. Yeah.
Right? Like, where's the money going? Because it's certainly not going to your web designer.
Right. Oh my gosh.
Right? I mean, there are times you're just like, oh no. Yeah, no, let's make a few changes here. Like, start over. But it's huge, right? For building trust and credibility. If you have a shady looking website, people are like, I don't know if I want to give money to these people. They don't seem to know what they're doing.
Right. Yes. And your website, I mean, what do you want them to do on your website? You want them to just look and leave? Or do you want them to click a button? Most likely you want them to click a button or call you. Maybe you want them to actually use the telephone and call you. But maybe you want them to fill out the form on your site. My cat is enjoying the Zoom meeting.
Well, if your fur babies aren't helping you do your broadcast, do you really have pets?
Yes. Really. So we want them to convert. So by convert, we mean use the site in a way that, like, they click on a button, they fill out the form, they call you, they click on a link to go to somewhere that you want them to see. Do they do the action you ask them to? So that's a conversion. And obviously we want a lot of conversions on our site, right? And then good UX reduces bounce rates. We were talking about them leaving the site. Bounce rate means they leave before they do anything, really. They don't go to another page. They don't click on anything. They just go. So they're the opposite of conversion.
Well, absolutely. Well, and really, doesn't that impact your website ranking then?
Yes, it does. If they leave, oh yes, bounce rates, the rate in which they leave before they do anything, is a large factor in your ranking of your website. So if you have a great UX, they're likely to stay, which is going to help your search engine optimization. You're going to rank higher on the search engine results pages. So what do we focus on to make a better UX? Well, there's navigation and structure. I'm sure everybody's been, it's like if you go to a store and you cannot find what you need and you can't ask anybody, what good is that? So you're likely to leave. Well, same thing with a website.
Unless you're sitting there on the website, go ahead, go here, and you're talking to people live as they're at your website, which isn't happening, right? So you got to make it easy for them to find it. There's no clerk to ask at the grocery store.
No. One thing you can do is put a search button on your site, but that's not. They may not even see the search button. You know, they may be just so overwhelmed that they don't even use it. So you really need to make it easy, the navigation intuitive. As we were mentioning before, the menu tabs, what do they say? And they need to have short words, not a sentence. Just short word, a word or two short words on the menu that's very clear. Contact us. That is very clear. Inspiration, not so much. I use the word and I've seen the word inspiration up there. Not as clear. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, if your organization is known for its inspiration, then maybe you can use that. But otherwise, think of something more concrete. And then your content. Oh, this is one of my pet peeves, is not being able to read a site. Those people that think I can read yellow font on a white background are crazy. Because I cannot. I don't know about the rest of you, but no.
You know, some of us as we get older, right? The eyesight is not the same. Okay, be gentle on us, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Make it easy. Use black on white. Be done with it. Or a dark color with white is what you also have here on the slide. So then what kind of information and how do you present it? Well, you need to think about explaining it to a fourth grader, you know, and not use jargon that nobody knows except you or people in your industry, that your visitors don't know your industry, the terminology of your industry. So use words that explain that. Like I could just say, oh, the UX, blah, blah, blah. If I don't say what it is, what good does that do? You don't know what I'm talking about. So, and then, yeah, it's called easy digestion. They can use your site easily. They can understand it easily. And we're talking about mobile speed too. If they can't get on your site quickly, they're going to leave. Think 2 seconds. If your site loads in 2 seconds, that's good. But longer than that, they may leave. And every second takes like 7% of your audience off your site. So let's see what we got next. So a simple menu, as we were talking about, clear, concise labels, logical flow. So make sure that it makes sense. And not just to you, ask your friends, ask your family, ask your clients, especially ask your clients or customers. When you're using the site, does it make sense where you want to go? How do you get there? And then, yeah, as I mentioned, you can put a search function on your site. That's helpful. And when you get to the buttons, you have a call to action related with a button or a link or a phone number. You want that to be very clear. Why would they want to call you? Is it for you're going to book a call with that button, or am I going to fill out a form and leave a message? What is the goal of that CTA, or call to action. So think about that and what you really want them to do, and then make it very clear. That way they know when they click on the button what they're going to get. Otherwise, they may not click on the button. Okay, here is, this is a terrible example of a website, especially on a slide. Give them credit. It looks a little better online, but you get the idea. This is their website. This is their homepage. How do you know where to go? I don't.
Right, what am I looking at? What am I clicking on? Is it clickable? Is it not? Is it what are your goals?
Exactly. So they have these little tiny labels on each of these photos, which is the name of the sandwich. What it does not tell me is, what do I do with this sandwich? Do I order it online, or do I have to go in there in person? If I go in person, what are your hours? What's in the sandwich? You know, the ingredients. Yeah. And there's just none of that on this website. This is a bakery. You wouldn't know it because it looks like a sandwich shop. It's a bakery. They have all kinds of baked goods, but they showed the sandwiches, which is fine. That must be what they really want people to buy, I guess.
Well, I'm getting hungry looking at it, but yeah, how do I order it? Where are they located?
Yeah,
will they deliver to Texas?
Right, do they deliver? Okay, here's another slide. Now, I know you can't see it, but you can read the labels more easily. It has breakfast, treats, hot breakfast, sandwiches and salads, hot lunch and dinner. Okay, so that on the website you can see better. It's hard to put it on a slide and get you able to see it.
Right.
There's also view the menu on the green part, yellow green part. Just view the menu, order online, view ingredients, and that's very clear. And on a website, it's much bigger, and you can read it, and you know, oh, I can order. Okay, and I can order online. I don't have to call, and I can look at the ingredients. You know, a lot of people need to know the ingredients.
Absolutely. If you have allergies, right?
Yeah.
So these kind of things are important. So why not clearly label it so we can find it easy?
Yeah. So you want it easy, easy to use interface, basically, is what we're talking about. Finding information is simple. Okay, enough of the food.
I know, now I'm hungry.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so the content, you want the content to be clear. As we mentioned about the website tabs in the menu, you want those to be clear. You also want your content, the body of your text, to be clear. So again, you avoid jargon to get a broader understanding for your audience. Now, like I said, think about fourth graders and utilize headings. Oh my gosh, my another pet peeve of mine is very long sentences, long paragraphs. Use headings, break that up. And I'll show you that in a minute. Visual appeal. So pictures that are fuzzy. Why would you put that on your website? Well, I have seen that. I am not kidding. A fuzzy picture.
I got to say, our CEO of Giver Marketing, Timothy Morgan, that's one of his big pet peeves is that quality, high quality photo. Is it nice and clear?
Absolutely. He's very right about that.
Mm-hmm.
It makes a huge difference on your site. Accessible contact information. So you want to be able to access it more easily. So let me show you some more. You probably can't read this either. I'll have to tell you what's in there. Sorry. But you can see that the first slide, the first square on the slide, has a long paragraph. Can you see that? Mostly, yeah. And the next one has bullet points. So it's the same topic, it's the same title, but one has the bullet points and one has this big old long paragraph. Which are you more likely to read? The bullet points, right? Why? Because we scan. When we look at a site, we scan it. We don't open it up like a book and start reading. We start scanning. Oh, what can I find on this site? So bullet points will grab the eye, and they'll be more interested in what you have to say if you have bullet points and headings and things they can scan. Okay, and then contact information. You want on your footer to have everything, at least on your footer, if not other places. But if you have it only in the middle of your homepage, they're not going to find it. They've got to be able to find your contact information easily. This is a footer of a website that I built. It has a form on there. It's got their phone number, their address, their hours. Everything is on there. On that, everything is on that footer. And they have a QR code for donations. So they make donations very easy because they're a nonprofit. They have to get the donations. So we were talking about, mobile first, speed. Well, your site has to adapt to different sizes of screens. So if you have a laptop or a tablet, a smartphone, an Android or an iPhone, you want the images to adapt so they don't run off the edge, so the text doesn't run off the edge, or the text doesn't cover up the photo, or the title of the page doesn't cover up the photo and look really odd on mobile. So you check it on all these devices. And if you don't have an iPhone, you only have Android, have your friends who have iPhones check it for you. Make sure that it can be seen. So that's called mobile responsiveness. It adapts to the size of the screen. Fast loading times, you want it to be, as I mentioned before, 2 seconds or less, and a 1 second delay on top of that can decrease your conversions by 7% because they leave. And then navigation. Think about navigating on a mobile phone versus a laptop screen. It's very different. You tap and you scroll. Make sure it's easy to tap. Don't make the buttons little tiny, teeny things you can hardly get your finger on. Make them bigger.
Right, but not so big. I don't know about you, but what drives me nuts on mobile is when they have a pop-up. And it's huge and you can't get to the page behind it. The pop-up takes over the whole thing, or you're trying to fill out the pop-up, but you can't get it to scroll all the way to the bottom. I mean,
yes.
Test it. Absolutely test it on mobile.
Yes, that's happened to me so many times. I see it a lot.
Like I said, if they get frustrated, what happens? They leave.
Yes, absolutely. We don't want that. Accessibility, we were talking about that earlier. Why accessibility? Well, if you make your website accessible, meaning that everyone can use it, no matter what challenge they may have on accessing a website, then it's available to all people. You're not eliminating visitors. You want as many visitors on your site as possible. If you eliminate them with no accessibility, you're not doing yourself any favors, and it affects your search engine optimization.
Nate, could you give us some examples?
Oh, yes. Well, for example, my granddaughter has dyslexia, pretty severe dyslexia. There's actually a dyslexia font. And the tool that I use and put on websites has that dyslexia font that can be chosen by the person with dyslexia. And the whole entire website goes into that font and they can read it. I was showing the site to someone. I didn't realize they had dyslexia, and I showed them that. And they were just, their jaw dropped. They're like so excited. I can read this. That's how they said it. They were just that excited about it. So it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, right? I know the other ones, like was it ADD? They'll make it so a certain spot is highlighted so you don't see the whole page, you don't get overwhelmed, and you can stay focused. I was like, this is kind of cool.
Yeah, it follows the cursor so they can easily move it up and down. Or get rid of it. They can always get rid of it by clicking a button, but they usually want it on there. So any of these adaptations can be reset very easily. If they decide, well, maybe I don't want that one on there. That's fine.
So it's personal choice, right? When they go to the website, they get to turn it on, off, choose what feature they want, and then they get to enjoy the website. And a lot of people may not be aware of the requirements now for compliance.
It's the law. Yep. There's the ADA law, American with Disabilities Act, says that all public services must be accessible. Well, a website is a public service, so it has to be accessible to all. You can't just say, well, no disabled person's going to come to my website. Well, no, it's supposed to be accessible to all. And yes, they will come to your site. I've heard of instances where somebody said that, and yet there was a person with a disability wanting to see that site. It was sports. They liked sports. You thought, oh, no, they'll never do sports. Oh, but they like sports. They want to see it. Right. So, yeah. And the thing is about leaving off people with disabilities, you leave off a possible client, a customer. And people with disabilities in the United States alone have $1 trillion spending power. It's a lot of money to be left on the table. I want some of that. So I have my site accessible. If people see your site and they have a loved one who has a disability, or they have a disability themselves, they see your site's accessible. They're going to be so excited, they're going to tell all their friends. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't you want people to tell all their friends about your site? There's another benefit. Again, the lawsuits, we prevent those lawsuits because of the ADA says you must have your site accessible. And you know what? You're doing the right thing. And you can know that and be confident in your business that it's doing the right thing. So put it all together. This is the journey of the customer. They land on your website. Do they stay? Oh, yes, they do. So they're hooked. Then, can they easily find information and feel confident about your site? Yes. So they're engaged. They're interacting. Then do they convert? This is so important, right? You want them to convert. Do they take the desired action? Fill out the form, make a phone call, etc. And then if they have a great experience with that, they're likely to come back. So maybe they bought your widget, but you want them to buy a tool too. Well, they may come back and buy that tool if they have a great experience. I saw a website, I am not kidding you, had 50 choices on the homepage before you scroll down.
50 choice. How do you even fit that on a page?
They had just words, but you click on the word and you can go there. But how do you find what you want? And they had no search button. How do you find, your crescent wrench? It was a cool site. How do you find your crescent wrench amongst all those tools?
Apparently you do a lot of scrolling.
Yeah, and you do a lot of reading, and people just don't do that.
Be like, oh no, yeah, we're done. Done shopping. Thank you.
There's always another site that does it better than that, right? So, you want to outperform your competition. Make your site easier than the competition site.
Wow, look at the stat down there. Positive user experience can lead to a 16 times increase in customer loyalty. Wow.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, customer loyalty. I mean, not only do they come back, they tell other people. You always want that word of mouth. Well, customer loyalty is worth its weight in gold.
Oh, absolutely.
So what are your next steps? Audit your current site. As I said, have your friends look at it. See if is it clear? Does it check its loading speed and make sure it's mobile responsive. In other words, adapting to the mobile screens. Get the user feedback from friends, family, existing customers especially. And then you're going to find a list of things you need to improve. So prioritize those. What are the most important? I can't do everything today, but what's the most important for my potential clients or customers on my site? And then, of course, consider getting professional help. Someone who can do it for you professionally. The results are great that way. And I'm one of them. So think about me when you think about that. And you just have that focus on your site being the best, the most professional, the easiest to use.
And it's a representation of your brand, right? So
It is.
If they go to your website and they go, ugh.
Right. So I mentioned auditing your site. I can do this for you for free. I give you a preliminary audit on your site for user experience. If you go to the QR code or you go to the link that's at the bottom of the slide, it's tinyurl.com/virtual coffee with Nate. We'll
And
have a
we're going
virtual
to,
coffee and we'll audit your site.
let's go ahead and drop that in the chat also. So we're going to send that out. So it'll be in the chat. So you can just click on that, book an appointment with Nate. Because if you've got questions about your website, a lot of times I know for small business owners, they're trying to, work on a shoestring budget. Right. And so you may have started with a site saying, I'm just going to make it myself. Right. But then you look at your site and you look at other people's sites, and then you look at your site and you're like, right. You may have noticed it's not quite up to what you'd like to represent your brand. Right. So maybe you started with the do-it-yourself thing, but maybe you're ready to upgrade. Maybe you're ready to get something that looks a little bit more consistent with your brand, something that converts, something that is getting people to engage, something that really you can be proud of. So if you're ready to take that step and have a professional give you a hand, reach out to Nate. Right. He does beautiful websites. And I'm a huge fan, Nate. He's got this way of bringing out and really reflecting the personality of the website owner. He just feels this natural attunement. There's something about that he does. I swear, it's magical. But if you want a site that really reflects you and who you are and looks good in your brand, hop on a call with him. Talk to him about it, right? Let him know what you've got in mind and what you'd like to change. And sometimes it's just better to start with a new site. And sometimes we can just tweak and fix what you've already got. It just depends on what you've got. I know the call I got last night, I looked at it and I was like, oh no, we got to start over.
Yes.
And so sometimes it happens, but sometimes it's just a tweak or two. You don't know. I've got other clients who are like, I did it and I think I did it okay, but right. And I'll go in and fix a few things, but you just never know. Until he takes a look at it, he can't offer an opinion, but definitely take him up on that offer, especially to do an audit on your site.
Yeah,
right?
it's worth $250.
Yeah. A free audit is a great thing to take advantage of. So hop on that call, scan it, and get on his calendar. Because I promise Nate's nice. He won't bite.
Thank you. I try not to. The most recent client I got came to me because they tried to do the website themselves. They used a builder that's supposed to be easy to use. They did get a site built, but it doesn't do what they want. They can't even put a picture where they want it. They can only have one picture on that, like that row across the page, one picture in the middle, a small little picture. They wanted a picture. They wanted a row of 3 pictures. Can't do it. They realized they need a professional to make their site because it just wasn't coming together. And, they tried really hard. They worked really hard on it, but it just didn't come together.
And the thing is we bring our experience and our knowledge with us. And so if you're not a website designer, you're like, well, I could follow the directions and build with the tools, but you don't know what the best practices are for marketing. Right? Are the words too small? Are they difficult to read? Like you said, is there enough contrast between the background and the color? Right? So if you don't know all these little things, you're like, I did the best that I could, right? But you might not have those natural instincts on the marketing side. You don't know the secret sauce, right? So it helps to have a little bit of advice from somebody that's been doing it for a while. Reach out to Nate, hop on his calendar, and just say, hey, can you just take a look and tell me what you think? Right? He'll tell you.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I love to do it. That's why I'm doing it for free for those who are watching this video, this broadcast, and the video after. Take advantage of that for sure, because I'd love to do it. No obligation either.
Yeah, that's really nice. And I know with Nate, he's a sweetheart. We don't do high pressure sales around here. We don't do anything like that. We're just here to help, right? And that's really the heart behind Giver Marketing, right? It's not about high pressure sales. It's not about any of that kind of thing. It's about building relationships and doing the right thing for our clients. And so I know Nate's dedicated to that. Some of your websites are just gorgeous. they just feel good, right?
Thank you.
I love that. Do you have favorite industries that you like to work with, Nate? Or
I love working with holistic healers and also with nonprofits. But I'm like, my latest one is a online jewelry store, and it is sending 10% of its profits to a nonprofit organization.
Oh, I love that.
The owner of the site has both of them, owns both of them. So, he's giving that 10% to his charity, which is a very worthwhile charity. So I love it.
Yeah, those are fun ones. I've seen some of them that you've done for some of your therapists, I think, and like you said, your holistic healers, and they just have this great vibe about them. So if you're looking at your website and saying, I think I need a change, reach out to Nate and he'll take a look for you. Nate, thank you so much for coming and sharing your words of wisdom with us. Website design is one of those things that can be really techy, and I know there's a lot of tools out there, but sometimes we need help.
Thank you so much for having me, Christine.
Absolutely. You did a great job just kind of talking about the customer journey, right? That's the whole purpose behind having the website. If the customers aren't enjoying the journey, what's the point, right?
Right.
Thank you so much. We're going to have you on the show again soon. I'm sure if you wanted to learn more about, like we said, the accessibility stuff, look on the Giver Marketing YouTube channel. You'll find Nate's, when we've talked about that in the past. We've also have things where, let's see, you're an ambassador, right? For the
Alignable, which is a online networking platform.
We've done a show on that too, haven't we? So yeah, go check out our channel. If you've missed anything, you're looking for a topic on there, we probably have something on it, but you can find more of Nate there. If you found him helpful, don't worry, there's more. Thanks, Nate. And thank you, everybody. We will see you tomorrow is Wednesday. So tomorrow is networking for marketers. So if you are a marketer, come hang out with us. Don't be a lonelypreneur. You can go to givermarketing.com/networking and come hang out with us on Wednesdays for our fun networking event. You can usually pop in and see Nate there too. So that's a fun playground to play in. And then we do this Tuesday marketing broadcast every Tuesday. So come on back and we'll see you next week. This is our give back because tide rises all. We'll see you soon.